You believe power is loud, obvious, assertive. But what if I told you that the most powerful man in the room is the one you never suspect? Today, we will expose the silent weapon used by rulers, emperors, and manipulators throughout history. If you misunderstand this trait, you will either fall prey to it or be consumed by it. You think power is movement. You think action means control, that those who speak quickly, respond instantly, and rush to be the first are the ones in command. But listen carefully, that is the first illusion of power. The truly powerful, the dangerously powerful, they do not rush. They do not react. They do not panic when the world moves around them. In fact, their strength comes from their refusal to move at all until it is time to strike. Controlled stillness is not weakness. It is a weapon, one sharper than any sword and more precise than any spoken command. Let me ask you, when you walk into a room full of noise, who holds your attention? Is it the man who speaks the loudest, or the one who says nothing at all, who watches unmoved, while everyone else scrambles to be seen? In every council I ever sat in, every court I ever studied, there was always one man who did not rush to speak, who waited while others revealed too much, who let fools burn themselves in the fire of their own words. That man, he always won, because stillness allows you to absorb what others miss. When others are reacting, you are learning. When others are exposed, you are hidden, while the emotional rush to defend, explain, or attack you do nothing. And in that nothing, you gain everything. Imagine a general on the battlefield. His enemies move, charge, swing wildly. He does not move, he does not respond, he watches, he studies, and when the enemy is tired, distracted, confused, then he strikes. That is not slowness, that is strategy. Most people fear silence. They fear inactivity. They believe if they do not move, they will be forgotten. But in truth, the man who does not move controls those who do. He sets the tempo. He becomes the reference point. He becomes the center of gravity around which others orbit without ever lifting a finger. Stillness is not laziness. It is the conscious decision to not act until the moment is perfect. Not early, not late, but precise. Power lies in precision, and only the still can strike precisely. You want to be powerful, you must learn the discipline of delayed action. You must become immune to provocation. When they insult you, do not respond. When they demand your opinion, stay silent. When they show their emotions, show nothing. Because the more they try to move you, the more power you gain by not moving. You become the mystery in the room, and mystery is power, because what people do not understand, they fear. And what they fear, they obey. Stillness is not merely physical. It is mental. It is emotional. It is spiritual. The ability to sit with discomfort, to endure boredom, to let others rush ahead thinking they are winning while you prepare the inevitable strike. That is the trait of emperors. That is the mindset of those who do not need to prove they have power, because they are power. Watch the rulers of history. Caesar, who waited years in exile before returning to seize Rome in a single stroke. Saladin, who endured crusades, outlasted kings, and reclaimed Jerusalem without ever revealing desperation. And yes, the prince, who smiles in stillness while others plan their betrayals. The modern man has forgotten the virtue of stillness. He checks his phone at every beep, responds to every insult online, chases every argument. He bleeds power with every reaction. But you, if you want to rise, you must be different. You must resist the urge to be seen, to be heard, to explain yourself. You must learn to wait, to hold the line, to let the storm pass while you remain anchored. And in that stillness, you will see what others cannot. Their fear, their motives, their mistakes. Because stillness is the only state where real observation happens. And observation leads to domination. Do not let others pull you into motion. Let them exhaust themselves. Let them burn their energy trying to provoke yours. And when their guard is down, when their masks slip, when their game is fully exposed, you move. And only then. This is the trait of those who win without a battle, who rules without chaos, who rise without noise. Let me reveal to you one of the most powerful principles ever crafted in the theater of power. One that has crowned kings, toppled empires, and manipulated masses without lifting a sword. It is not strength. It is not intelligence. It is not a charm. It is concealment. The ability to hide your true intentions behind a wall of illusion so thick, not even your closest ally knows your next move. If you think power is about honesty, you are already defeated. The truly powerful never show their cards. They smile, they nod, they promise loyalty, peace, unity, but behind those gestures is a mind calculating 10 moves ahead. A mind that understands that visibility is vulnerability, and that once your real goal is known, it can be stopped. To rule effectively, to manipulate masterfully, you must become unreadable. You must say one thing, mean another, and do a third, all without ever revealing your true hand. Look around you. In every power structure, be it a political regime, a corporate empire, or even a social group, those who last, those who rise, those who dominate, are never the most vocal about their goals. They don't announce what they want, they cloak it, they confuse others, they misdirect, because if your opponent does not know what you're aiming for, they cannot prepare a defense. When you enter a room with a clear goal, but no one knows it but you, you've already won half the battle. While others talk, reveal, vent, and expose their strategies, you listen, you flatter, you nod. You play the role they want you to play. And in that role, hidden like a dagger beneath a robe, your intention waits. Machiavelli knew this well. He did not preach honesty in the name of virtue. He preached deception in the name of power. He saw that a ruler who exposes his true ambitions becomes predictable. And what is predictable can be prevented. You must become a master actor. You must learn to wear faces that are not yours, to say words you do not mean, to smile in the face of those you plan to conquer, not out of cruelty, but because strategy demands it. Power demands it. Imagine you wish to eliminate a rival. You do not attack them directly. That invites resistance. Instead, you praise them in public, you align with them in appearance, you offer them small victories. They relax, they lower their defenses, and only then, when they are off guard, you cut the rope that holds them up. Concealment buys you time to build strength, time to exploit weaknesses, time to prepare for moves that no one else can predict. But the moment you declare your desires openly, your enemies begin to sharpen their weapons. They unite. They block you, and the path to power is lost. Learn from nature. The serpent does not hiss before it strikes. The spider does not announce its trap. The lion crouches low before it leaps. Power belongs to those who are patient, those who hide behind layers, those who never expose their real aim until it's too late for anyone to stop them. Even your closest allies should not fully know your goals, not because you mistrust them, but because if they are captured, bribed, or swayed, they cannot betray what they do not know. Secrecy protects you from betrayal, and confusion protects you from competition. This is how kings have ruled empires, and fools have been manipulated into serving the very interests that destroy them. A man who cannot read your mind is a man who cannot resist your plan. Do not mistake this for cowardice. There is no bravery in exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. Masking your intentions is the highest form of power. It is the art of moving through the world like a ghost with hands in everything, while appearing harmless, supportive, even benevolent. Your enemies should underestimate you. Your friends should overestimate their importance to you and the public. They should be convinced you want nothing more than peace and prosperity. Meanwhile, behind the curtain, you direct the game with invisible hands. Say what they want to hear, do what they expect you to do, and all the while walk quietly, carefully, deliberately toward a goal only you can see. Power is not emotional. Power is precise, measured, deliberate. Yet most people bleed their strength by wearing their hearts on their sleeves. They react, they defend, they explode, they beg, and in doing so, they hand control to those who know how to remain invisible, especially when it comes to their emotions. If you want to rule, influence, or dominate, you must master the art of emotional invisibility, not because feelings are wrong, but because feelings are weapons used best when controlled and never exposed. The one who displays emotion first loses leverage. The one who keeps their face still wins. Let them shout. Let them cry, let them threaten. You stay silent, you remain unreadable, because as long as no one knows what you truly feel, no one can use it against you. People want to believe that showing emotion is a form of strength. They tell you vulnerability is power. But they are wrong. Vulnerability is power only when it is calculated, when you decide to reveal it, not when it leaks out of you uncontrollably. You must become a fortress, not a fortress of stone, but of mind. The truly powerful carry a calm within them, not because they are numb, but because they refuse to be moved by chaos. And those who cannot be moved cannot be manipulated. Think of the greatest rulers in history. Do you imagine them weeping in public, raging at insults, begging to be understood? No. You imagine them standing still as storms rage around them. You imagine them unbothered, untouched, untouchable. That is no accident, that is discipline. Your emotions are like currency. The more you spend them, the less value you hold. Anger, joy, jealousy, fear. Each time you display these in public, you reveal a piece of yourself. You give your enemies data, you show them what breaks you, what excites you, what distracts you, and they will use it. Every smile they fake for you, every kind word, every confrontation. It will be tailored to the emotions you've already exposed. But if they see nothing, if you laugh without joy, listen without reaction, smile without commitment, they are left guessing. And people fear what they do not understand. Emotional invisibility does not mean you feel nothing. It means no one knows what you feel. It is the ability to burn inside and show nothing on the surface. That is power, because when your enemy cannot read your face, he begins to doubt, and doubt is the seed of defeat. In a negotiation, the first man to flinch loses. In conflict, the one who reveals fear becomes prey. In love, in politics, in war, emotional transparency is a weakness. You must be the mirror that reflects others without revealing yourself. When others show their cards, you study them. When they try to provoke you, you remain calm. When they expect a reaction, you give them silence. This disturbs them, confuses them, dismantles their strategy, because people expect emotion, and when they receive none, they feel powerless. They will say you are cold, let them. They will say you are heartless, let them. You are not heartless, you are in control. You are not unfeeling, you are unreadable. And the unreadable man is the one everyone watches, fears, and ultimately follows. In a world ruled by impulse, the one who resists reaction becomes the architect of consequence. When they scream, you listen. When they demand, you pause. When they accuse, you observe. And when the time comes, you act not from emotion, but from strategy. This is the trait that separates the rulers from the ruled. Most people seek sympathy, understanding, validation. But the powerful seek clarity, silence, and emotional discipline. Because once your feelings rule you, someone else will rule your fate. The powerful understand that being emotionally invisible is not about being fake. It is about being inaccessible. It is about denying the world the ability to push you, shake you, bend you. You decide when to express yourself. You decide when to appear moved. Never let it be dictated by the noise outside you. Never let it be triggered by those who wish to break you. There is a silence that weak men carry, the silence of fear, of confusion, of submission. But there is another silence, far more dangerous, far more deliberate. It is the silence of the ruler, the strategist, the master of outcomes. That silence is not empty, it is loaded. It watches, it measures, it waits, it destroys without warning. You've been taught to speak, to explain, to justify, to respond to every insult, every doubt, every question. You believe silence means defeat. That if you say nothing, you'll lose your place. That if you're quiet, you'll be overlooked. But those who are truly powerful know the opposite is true. The most powerful words are the ones never spoken. The most terrifying response is no response at all. Calculated silence is not the absence of voice, it is the control of it. And control is the foundation of power. When you speak too quickly, you reveal your thoughts. When you argue, you lower yourself. When you explain, you give others the map to your mind. But when you stay silent, when you hold the pause, when you say nothing, you force the world to wonder what you're thinking. And that uncertainty becomes your shield. Let them try to read you, let them guess, let them doubt their own assumptions. A silent man becomes a mirror. People project onto you. They imagine your intentions. They overthink. They become nervous. And nervous men make mistakes. When everyone is talking, when everyone is desperate to be heard, the man who says nothing becomes the most powerful presence in the room. Because silence makes people uncomfortable, and in their discomfort they expose themselves. They rush to fill the void. They reveal their insecurities, their ambitions, their weaknesses, all because you gave them the space to do so. But your silence wasn't accidental. It was designed, calculated, a tool, not a flaw. This is what separates the fool from the prince. The fool speaks first, fearing silence. The prince listens, observes, waits, and when he does speak, the room falls quiet. Not out of politeness, but out of fear. Because when a silent man finally chooses to speak, every word matters. It carries weight. It carries mystery. It carries control. There is power in making others wait, in refusing to react, in leaving people uncertain about your position. This forces them to reveal theirs. The longer you hold your silence, the more desperate they become. They'll offer more information than they should. They'll reveal where their pressure points are, and when they do, you now own the advantage. Think of the great leaders, the ones who never rushed to respond. The ones who sat quietly while others demanded answers. Their silence created pressure. Pressure created mistakes. And mistakes created opportunity. You must learn the discipline of saying less. Not because you have nothing to say, but because saying nothing serves a greater purpose. It keeps you unpredictable. It preserves your authority. It makes people work harder to understand you, to impress you, to win your favor. A silent ruler is not empty. He is full of thoughts, plans, secrets. He doesn't reveal his strategy until it's too late for anyone to counter it. When someone insults you, silence is stronger than a retort. When someone begs for your reaction, silence is more violent than a scream. When you're asked a question you do not want to answer, silence turns the questioner into the question. And even when you do speak, speak less than expected. Leave room for ambiguity. Say enough to guide, never enough to be fully understood. Let your silence create tension. Let it become a force of intimidation. In every negotiation, in every conflict, in every relationship, understand this: whoever speaks first loses ground. Whoever fills the silence exposes themselves. You must be comfortable with the discomfort that silence brings, because that discomfort doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. The world is addicted to noise. People fear the pause. They fear not knowing where you stand. Use that fear. Let your silence become a tool of power, a wall between you and the influence of others. Speak when you must, but only after your silence has done its work, only after they've shown their cards, only after your silence has carved a space that no one else dares enter without trembling. Power is not always loud. It does not always scream, command, or make itself known. The most dangerous form of power is the one that remains unseen, hidden beneath stillness, veiled by silence, masked by calm, and protected by restraint. The truly powerful do not rush, they wait. They do not expose their aims, they mislead. They do not react emotionally, they remain invisible. And they do not speak unnecessarily, they let others reveal themselves. This is the mindset of the sovereign strategist. The one who never needs to raise his voice because the weight of his presence speaks louder. The one who lets fools exhaust themselves while he sharpens the blade behind the curtain. The one who knows that real dominance is not proven, it is felt. So remember this: if they can read your next move, you are already checkmated. If they can provoke you, they already own you. But if they cannot see your face, hear your thoughts, or feel your emotion, they cannot control you. The most dangerous trait of the truly powerful is not something you do. It is something you withhold. And in that withholding, in that mastery of concealment, you become the one force they cannot predict, cannot manipulate, and cannot defeat.